After 3 days of silence, an angry President Clinton fights back.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The president, in effect, challenges the media and the independent prosecutor. Prove it. While that woman, 24-year-old Monica Lewinsky, emerges from seclusion today with her lawyers. Intense negotiations with prosecutors to tell everything. While in Iraq, the time for talk is all but over. The president tells the Pentagon to plan to hit Saddam hard unless he opens all sites to weapons inspection.
From NBC News, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from Washington.
Good evening. Tonight, that alleged White House sex scandal is beginning to resemble a high-stakes poker game. Very high stakes. The president pushing all of his chips into the middle of the table and challenging Whitewater prosecutor Ken Starr to play his hand. So far tonight, Starr and the others continue to examine their options, including some kind of deal with the young woman, Monica Lewinsky. NBC's David Bloom begins our coverage at the White House tonight. David?
Tom, the two sides are talking tonight. One source telling NBC News we're moving closer to a deal whereby independent counsel Ken Starr would grant some sort of immunity to Monica Lewinsky in exchange for her testimony. But sources also caution that if no deal is struck tonight, she could be hauled before a federal grand jury here in Washington as early as tomorrow. Meanwhile, today the president drew a line in the sand.
Thank you.
The applause was heartfelt. The president's anger looked real. One day after his allies declared war, Mr. Clinton today was leading the charge.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people.
And with that, a Clinton counteroffensive began, the First Lady at her husband's side. Moments later, a car carrying the former White House intern, Monica Lewinsky, and her lawyer left the Watergate, where the 24-year-old woman has been holed up since last week, when allegations of an affair and a cover-up involving the president first broke. Tonight, sources say independent counsel Ken Starr may be inching closer to a deal to win Lewinsky's cooperation. Her lawyer this morning.
That Monica will tell everything and the chips will fall where they may.
The president's new strategy, he now wants an early trial in Paula Jones' sexual harassment case, where Monica Lewinsky is a potential witness against him. Today, Mr. Clinton's lawyer, Bob Bennett, argued Jones' case has become a vehicle for parties allied in an attempt to destroy the president, who's being tarred in the media with, Bennett said, gossip, innuendo, and hearsay.
Let's go to trial. Let's put some of these people under oath. It's important to get this case behind us one way or another.
But even the president's denial today left unanswered questions. Mr. Clinton said he'd had no sexual relations with Lewinsky, but his spokesman was reminded that dictionaries define sexual relations as sexual intercourse.
And I'm not going to dignify the question. I think every American that heard him knows exactly what he meant with the question.
The real issue tonight is, are they close to a deal? Sources tell NBC News that Lewinsky has, in recent days, told prosecutors what she describes as the entire story of her relationship or purported relationship with the president. If a deal is struck, that could go a long way toward making Ken Starr's case much stronger against the president and his close friend, Vernon Jordan. Tom?
Thanks very much. David Bloom tonight at the White House. The scheduled appearances of the president and the first lady, as you might expect, are getting unusually close attention. She's on the Today Show tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night, the president goes to Capitol Hill for his annual State of the Union speech. And as NBC's Claire Shipman tells us tonight, that speech and what to put in it are getting a lot of attention as the White House is being buffeted by this political storm. Claire?
Tom, that's right. Worried about plummeting poll numbers, disheartened supporters, and what some insiders have called shockingly weak previous denials from the president, his political team pushed him to take a tougher tone today, although lawyers insisted on much the same language. The political and legal team hope that today's performance will alleviate the need for any mention of the scandal in the State of the Union address tomorrow. Though in this atmosphere, nothing is certain. Sources say the president was still consulting with advisors late last night about the decision to speak today.
Tomorrow night is still, in news cycle terms, a long ways off.
Mickey Cantor, the former Commerce Secretary who's spearheading crisis management, is said to have brought confidence to the shaken staff. Erskine Bowles, the chief of staff, is also said to be more involved than he was last week, though still sticking primarily to policy. But besides the lawyers, only a small group within the White House knows all the facts. Cantor, who's now on the legal team, Bruce Lindsay, Clinton confidant and deputy White House counsel, and the president and Mrs. Clinton. The First Lady in New York today is directing damage control efforts, and aides say she's keeping all of her public appointments, even an interview tomorrow morning on the Today Show, where she's expected to defend her husband and criticize Kenneth Starr. Meanwhile, preparation for the State of the Union speech goes on. Many staffers point out that this is a White House used to balancing policy and crises.
There's always distractions, there's always fire, and you stay focused on why you were elected and what matters most to people in their day-by-day lives.
Now, the State of the Union is the next immediate hurdle, and then advisors will be focusing on just what Monica Lewinsky has to say, and then perhaps a fuller explanation from the president. But some advisors are already mulling over future strategy, one wondering whether the public might have more sympathy for the president if it turns out that Monica Lewinsky was the aggressor in whatever sort of relationship they had. Tom?
Thanks very much. Claire Shipman tonight at the White House. As this scandal unfolds, the American public seems to be forming a definite opinion about what is and what is not an impeachable offense. According to a new NBC News poll, if it turns out the president did in fact have a sexual relationship with Monica Lewinsky, the majority say that alone is not an impeachable offense. But if the president encouraged Lewinsky to lie about an affair, that's a big majority. 59% say yes, he should be removed from office. Joining me now with more on the fallout from all of this, NBC's Washington bureau chief and host of Meet the Press, Tim Russert. Tim, at the White House tonight, are they just hoping for survival?
Tom, the political strategy is as follows. They believe the president will deny this sexual relations in the hopes that even if there is enormous circumstantial evidence indicating otherwise, people will say, well, he may have had an affair, but they didn't prove it. As long as they cannot prove it and prove perjury and obstruction of justice, they think he'll be seriously weakened, but will survive.
Tim, he's not getting much help from fellow Democrats on Capitol Hill. One of the major leaders up there today told me they remain skeptical despite today's denial, and they're all keeping their heads down in the Democratic Party.
And at best, they'll formally say, well, the president has said he didn't do it. We take him at his word. There will be no great enthusiastic embrace of this president, Tom, until all the facts come out. The Democrats are very skittish. They believe he will give a very good speech tomorrow, however, to rally the Democratic base on policy issues, but they know that's only a short-term fix.
All right, thanks very much. Tim Russert tonight. So what exactly does Kenneth Starr have to prove, and how is he going to do that? We'll answer that question tonight in depth. Also coming up, talking to kids about the sex scandal that's all over the headlines and on television.
I wouldn't trust a president who lies or anything.
It's a delicate subject with kids of a tender age. Later, we'll have the other news of the day. Overpaying for medical supplies. You're footing the bill. That's part of the fleecing of America. We'll have that tonight as well.
Morning, George. George Jr., George Sr.
Hi. Hey.
Morning. Like to see how your cereals stack up to Total?
Sure.
Hope you're hungry. To get the vitamins in one bowl of Total, you'd have to eat 2 bowls of cornflakes.
Eat up, son.
You'd need 4 bowls of Raisin Bran.
And a really big spoon.
10 bowls of shredded wheat for you.
What's so funny? Nothing.
Nice bowls.
Total has 100% of 10 vitamins and minerals in just 1 bowl.
We'll take the Total and give Junior the check.
Total Raisin Bran, Total Cornflakes. 1 bowl, 100%.
Nobody does it like you.
In test after test, new wind tunnel by Hoover picks up more dirt than any other clean air upright.
Nobody
Wind tunnel by Hoover.
does it like you.
Introducing British Classics, a marriage of Victorian elegance and Caribbean soul. British Classics from Ethan Allen. The winter sale is on now.
It's acid. Burns. It travels up.
Like a fire in my chest.
A terrible taste in my throat.
If heartburn has you by the throat, you may have the toughest heartburn. Acid reflux. For this, doctors recommend Gaviscon. Only regular Gaviscon forms a soothing, protective barrier to help keep stomach acid down, where it belongs. Mylanta can't, Pepcid AC can't. Only Gaviscon can.
Better.
Relief.
Sleep.
When heartburn has you by the throat, get Gaviscon.
Now to Iraq and what is likely to come, a military attack if Saddam doesn't back off soon. As he blatantly defies UN weapons inspectors, the Clinton administration apparently has decided enough is finally enough. NBC's Jim Miklashevsky joins us tonight from the Pentagon with the latest strategy. James, what do you have for us?
Tom, President Clinton hasn't given the order to attack Iraq yet, but he's getting close. The president's top foreign policy team has decided that military strikes against Iraq now appear to be the only option. Government sources tell NBC News the window for airstrikes against Iraq opens in 2 weeks. That's when the U.S. will have 3 aircraft carrier battle groups in the Gulf. Military officials report airstrikes against Iraq would be massive and sustained. Hundreds of cruise missiles, more than the total number of missiles fired during the entire Gulf War, are already aimed at targets inside Iraq. Even some of those presidential palaces believed to conceal Saddam's biological and chemical weapons. So-called bunker buster bombs would be used to penetrate deep underground to take out his hidden weapons supplies or his top military commanders. In Baghdad, Iraqi officials fear that President Clinton will use military airstrikes only to divert attention from the current scandals back home. But in fact, the scandals could actually weaken the president's hand.
There's no getting around the reality that this hurts the president. It will make it that much more difficult to garner international support for the United States and for any use of force.
But leading Republicans warn Saddam that Congress is behind the president all the way.
He and his advisors should not make any decisions over the next few weeks based on the idea that America is in any way weaker or confused or unwilling to act.
President Clinton still needs the support of the American people, so he'll lay out his case for airstrikes against Iraq in his State of the Union speech tomorrow night. Tom?
But Jim, what are the diplomatic steps that are yet to be taken before military action can be ordered?
Secretary of State Albright and Secretary of Defense Cohen are expected to travel to the Mideast region to talk to our allies, not to get permission for airstrikes, but to tell them exactly what the U.S. plans to do.
All right, thanks very much. Jim Miklashevsky at the Pentagon tonight. In other news, the president's latest denial on the Lewinsky matter came just as he was wrapping up an announcement of a new child care initiative. In tomorrow night's State of the Union speech, he will propose smaller classes for younger kids, more classrooms in the nation's schools, and a national effort to fund after-school programs for 500,000 more children. Business news tonight. Communications giant AT&T is downsizing again. That means the elimination of 18,000 jobs. That's 14% of the workforce. The company says most of them will come through retirements and attrition. This after AT&T officials announced an 18% drop in fourth quarter profits. The cuts are expected to save the company $1.6 billion this year alone. Up next, NBC News in Depth, getting to the bottom of the legal issues facing the president. What does the independent counsel have to prove? Can he prove it? But first from CNBC, let's take a look at what happened on Wall Street today. The Dow was up. NASDAQ was down.
Looking for more space? Try the next Century. It's got the most interior space of any vehicle in its class. Because extra space is one luxurious touch that's appreciated by families everywhere. The new Century by Buick is also a Consumer's Digest Best Buy, making Century one of the best values on earth.
Ugh, this head cold. I'm so clogged up, I just can't focus.
You okay? Get new Tavastine caplets. Just one works 12 hours versus 4 Tylenol cold pills. Tavastine clears your congestion. Be clear-headed, clear through your day with new Tavastine caplets.
He doesn't really talk about his hair, but I know he thinks about it.
That's why he uses Pantene Pro V. The Pro Vitamin formula penetrates, improving hair, keeping it looking really healthy, shiny, strong. Pantene Pro V, for hair so healthy it shines.
Is there a store between here and the Canadian border we haven't been to?
Come on, a couple more stops.
Honey, I'm beat. I'm starving.
Here.
Ensure bars?
Complete balanced nutrition. To go.
Introducing Ensure Bars, a source of complete balanced nutrition, packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals to help you stay healthy and energetic.
Delicious. What's next?
The Canadian border.
I'm ready.
New Ensure Bars, from the #1 doctor-recommended liquid nutritional supplement to your health.
Dateline Monday. It was almost the perfect crime. A senator's daughter murdered.
This is no traffic accident.
This is murder.
The investigation uncovers sex, drugs, and family secrets.
How vicious was this murder?
As vicious as they get.
A Dateline Court TV exclusive. Plus, the latest on the president under siege. Dateline NBC tonight.
NBC News in depth tonight. More on the White House scandal. President Clinton and Whitewater Independent Counsel Kenneth Starr eyeball to eyeball now. A fierce denial by the president today to allegations Starr is trying to prove. This is obviously the toughest challenge that Starr's faced so far. Who's lying about what? What are the criminal possibilities in the matter of Clinton and Lewinsky? In depth tonight, NBC's Pete Williams.
The president today staked out his position. He absolutely did not have sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. And his advisors are going to war against Kenneth Starr, saying the independent counsel is out of control. But Starr's defenders note that it was Mr. Clinton's Attorney General, Janet Reno, who supported Starr's request to look into the Lewinsky allegations. With today's presidential denial, what does Starr do now? If Monica Lewinsky decides to talk and say that they did have an affair, then it would be he said, she said, a tough case to prove, according to lawyers close to Starr's staff. And a former prosecutor agrees.
It's going to be very difficult for a prosecutor to make a case that's just based on that. What a good prosecutor will look for is circumstantial, independent evidence.
And that's just what Kenneth Starr is searching for, other evidence that would confirm Lewinsky's story. He has now subpoenaed Secret Service logs asking when was she in the White House, and subpoenaed White House aides and Clinton friends to ask whether and why they did her any favors. Starr's investigators are checking out a tip that a White House official may have seen the two of them together there, but the White House strongly denies that. And the FBI has searched her apartment, looking for gifts from the president and whether any might bear traces of his DNA. Starr is investigating only whether anyone lied or told others to lie about all of this. And the most concrete piece of evidence so far is a memo Lewinsky gave to Linda Tripp, the former White House aide, to get her ready for her expected sworn interview with lawyers for Paula Jones. They were interested in Tripp's claim that she knew of another woman who had a sexual encounter with the president 4 years ago. That document, obtained by NBC News, advises Tripp to say, you do not now believe that other woman's story, and you did not see her go in or come out of the Oval Office. Starr must determine who wrote the memo and whether that person wanted Tripp to lie. A former prosecutor who reviewed it for NBC News says you can't tell by looking.
Whether it's a good document or an evil document depends on the intention of the person drafting it and what their intention was as to how it should be used.
Starr has pledged to act as quickly as possible, but getting to the bottom of this could take weeks. And meantime, the pressure will grow from the president's defenders who want to make Ken Starr the issue. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
So ahead tonight, the fleecing of America. Who's billing Medicare for medical equipment that doesn't even exist? And later, through the eyes of a child, how do young Americans view the shocking events and language unfolding here in Washington?
One slice, Tony.
You got it. Oh. 2 extra large pizza. 3 with pepper. 1 with mushroom. 2 for me.
Bayer relieves the inflammation that can cause arthritis, pain, and stiffness. Tylenol can. And taken regularly, only Bayer can help save your life by reducing the risk of a second heart attack. Ask your doctor. Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more. Also try Extra Strength Bayer PM, the only nighttime aspirin. Make a little extra room at the table. It's the Olive Garden's pasta pairs. There's spaghetti with meat sauce and lasagna, cheese ravioli with fettuccine alfredo, and more. With all the salad and breadsticks you'd like. Pasta pairs, all just $7.95 at the Olive Garden.
I heard about this car that's supposed to be safe for you and your kids. But it's so expensive, you probably couldn't afford to have kids and that car at the same time. How about a Chevy Cavalier? It comes with standard anti-lock brakes and next-generation driver and front passenger airbags. So for around $12,800, you can get everything you want in a car, including kids. Who decided that only people who can afford expensive cars should be safe? Get the car that's easy to own. A Cavalier. Genuine Chevrolet. The cars more Americans trust.
In hospitals, speed counts. So when patients get heartburn, they get 1 minute Malox.
It starts to work on stomach acid in about 1 minute. Pepsid AC could take 45. Hospitals trust Malox.
Shouldn't you?
Count on 1 minute Malox.
I thought you were starting to go gray.
I was, but I never did.
So what happened? A miracle?
You can't tell?
Tell what?
I use Just for Men.
That's hair color?
Even your barber can't tell you use the hair coloring called Just for Men. Simply shampoo in, then rinse. In only 5 minutes, this unique Just for Men formula blends away the gray, actually matches your gray to your real color.
I never would have guessed.
Just for Men. So natural, even your barber can't tell.
Now to the hotspots making news tonight. In outer space, American astronaut Andrew Thomas gets to stay on board the Mir after all. He performed some emergency tailoring, and now his Russian-made spacesuit, which was too small, fits perfectly. London, flowers for the 97-year-old Queen Mother as she rests up from emergency surgery. Her doctors call the hip replacement operation a success 1 day after she stumbles and falls while viewing some horses at the royal family's country estate. And Denver, the football capital of the world, tens of thousands of Denver Bronco fans gathering to welcome home their Super Bowl champions. Mile High Stadium filling up as John Elway and his team of underdogs wing their way home from their victory over the Green Bay Packers, a game many are calling the best Super Bowl ever. Now to tonight's fleecing of America, and once again, it is Medicare. Unscrupulous and sometimes fake dealers in medical equipment are ripping off American taxpayers. How do they do it? What is the government doing to stop it? More now from NBC's Robert Haig.
Wheelchairs, walkers, beds, and more. Expensive. The government pays $6 billion a year to dealers who supply these items to patients on Medicare. But hundreds of millions of your tax dollars are going straight to con artists who fake these charges. A huge fleecing of America. The scammers just pass themselves off as real dealers, and some are so bold they don't even bother to open an office or stock equipment. Recently, when investigators went to a dozen cities to see firsthand which businesses were legitimate, they got a surprise. Nearly 1 of every 10 equipment dealers had given the government a fictitious address. In New York, investigators went to one so-called office address and found only a shuttered mail drop. Another phony dealer's address turned out to be a laundrette. In Florida, investigators found of 36 applications to open new dealerships, 32 were fake, 89%. An example from the chair of a Senate investigation.
We found a case, for example, where a company got a Medicare provider number, and the company turns out to have a fictitious location in the middle of the runway at the Miami International Airport.
And from the government official in charge of Medicare.
We would go to the building, and the address would be the 6th floor of a 5-floor building.
A contrast to legitimate dealers who urge Medicare to be more careful, like Gordon Barlow.
Whenever you grow a program where reimbursement is that available, you're going to have fraud and abuse. And you certainly have good people providing good care, but at the same time, you're going to have people taking advantage of the system.
So the government now plans to make would-be dealers post a bond and incredibly require them to open a real office. An effort to shut down this fleecing of America and save taxpayers hundreds of millions. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
When we come back, a history lesson no one wants to teach. How do you explain the president's problem to a classroom of youngsters?
If you can't enjoy regular milk because it does a number on your stomach the way it does to millions of other people, try Lactaid milk. Lactaid is real milk, farm fresh and delicious, specially made so you can digest it easily and naturally. So go on, enjoy real milk again, and all those other things you've been missing with Lactaid milk.
What causes denture odor? Get close and you'll see. Germs. Eprident Plus with fresh burst Listerine ingredients. It kills odor-causing germs. So you can get this close. Minty Eprident Plus. Kill the germs, kill the odor.
Looking for more space? Try the next Century. It's got the most interior space of any vehicle in its class. Because extra space is one luxurious touch that's appreciated by families everywhere. The new Century by Buick is also a Consumer's Digest Best Buy, making Century one of the best values on earth.
If you love the complete relief of NyQuil to get you through your nights, you'll love its non-drowsy daytime version called DayQuil to get you through your days. Vicks DayQuil, the non-drowsy stuffy head, sore throat, coughing, fever, so you can get through your day medicine.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you. To help keep your dog active and healthy, ask your veterinarian how Rimadyl has relieved arthritis pain for more than 500,000 dogs. As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur, available by prescription only.
The State of the Union and the state of the Clinton presidency. How will this sex scandal affect the president's ability to do his job and work for America? NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
It's never been more difficult, but after more than 22 years, she continues to stand by her man, First Lady Hillary Clinton, on Time and Again. Tonight on MSNBC.
This alleged White House sex scandal contains language and actions difficult enough for adults to handle. So what do you tell the kids who, after all, can't escape hearing or reading about it? And it does seem to get uglier every day. Here's NBC's Ann Thompson.
Do you think he should probably
Current events were never like this. Terry McAzee's sixth grade social studies class spent today talking about the alleged affairs of state.
What's her name again? Okay,
12-year-olds on the cusp of adulthood are trying to understand grown-up issues.
Who would want a president that might have had an affair with somebody? Who would want a president like that?
An X-rated subject tackled by PG-rated minds, who in this scandal see Bill Clinton as both a president and a father.
And I feel really bad for Chelsea.
Here at the suburban Chicago junior high school, teachers are not keeping quiet about the sexual aspects of this crisis. They are talking about it openly with their students, but choosing their words very carefully. Words that don't come easy to teacher Frank Camporelli.
I start sweating. Makes me a little nervous, but I keep doing it.
In discussing the scandal, Camporelli knows he's walking a fine line between information and innuendo. But child psychiatry expert Dr. Bennett Leventhal says talking about the issue is what adults should be doing.
And it's never a good idea not to tell them the truth about it. So being honest is very important. On the other hand, there's a difference between being honest and being brutally frank.
But sometimes Terry McAzee finds his students' honesty brutal from those so young.
I'm a little bit shocked at times as to the insight that the kids are able to show and the maturity they're able to handle the situation with.
If the president is telling the truth, what will happen to Monica Lewinsky?
Teachers at Caruso Junior High say with sex so prevalent in what today's kids see, read, and hear, this lesson in current affairs may ultimately be more uncomfortable for parents than children. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Deerfield, Illinois.
Don't forget tomorrow morning on Today, an exclusive interview with First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. It's Mrs. Clinton's first interview since the crisis at the White House began. It will only be on Today tomorrow morning. That's Nightly News for this Monday. I'm Tom Brokaw, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night for NBC Nightly News and for the President's State of the Union address. See you then.
NBC Nightly News is America's most watched evening news program.
Tomorrow on Today, First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. An exclusive interview. Live tomorrow, only on Today.
Imagine NBC's classic TV Monday.
Don't say I'm home.
On Susan, the Ricardos meet the Cleavers. Then, a fired up where no mission is impossible. And Caroline in The Outer Limits as Richard's wife.
We are my married husband.
And Wonder Woman on The Naked Truth. Nice shot. Classic TV Monday, NBC tonight.